everybody. My name is Pearl Chiarenza, and I am with Women's Successful Living. I'm so excited to be able to share today, and I want to thank everybody at Global Speakers Talk for having me. I want to share a story with you. I want you to think about a time that you have had those midnight wake-up calls. You are always showing up for everybody else, and maybe you feel like you don't know where your place is in the world anymore. You see, I used to wear all these titles in my life. I used to show up for everybody else, and it was overwhelming, exhausting, and I was really losing who I was in my life. So a little bit about me. I started in my field doing just health and wellness. That's where I showed up. That's where I was helping my clients on their health journey to become a healthier version of themselves. And oftentimes I would have clients come to me on the strict program, and maybe they've had something they weren't supposed to eat on the program. And instead of getting on them about, you should eat that, and why did you choose that? I would sit down and have a conversation with them about what was behind the choice that they were choosing to go off the program. Maybe why do they have the cupcake? Not about, you shouldn't have the cupcake, but let's talk about the thought behind it. What was the mindset? What was happening? Were they stressed out? Did they get something in their life was overwhelming them, that they were turning to food as the answer to sort of give themselves that safe hug? And as I was doing that, I started finding that I would have clients say, wow, I never thought about the emotion behind my choices of eating. And it really is. A lot of things that we choose to do in our life has to do with an emotion. And so as I was helping my clients to understand that part of their journey, what was happening from them is I would have many clients say to me, hey, Pearl, would you talk to my friend? Because she doesn't need, or he doesn't need to lose weight, but they're just not in a good spot in their life. And you just have this great way of helping us understand what's happening behind the choices that we're making. And so that's where I started on this journey to become a life coach. Now, I need to go get certified. I needed to find things to help me expand my certification and to really step into this journey of becoming a life coach. So I decided I wanted to take this course called Identity and Destiny. And at this time, my oldest son was in his senior year of high school, and my youngest son was a rising junior in high school. And so I took this course for about 6 weeks. And at the end of 6 weeks, we had to give our I am statement. And so for me, at that I am statement was still showing up wearing all my titles. How many of you feel like you wear your titles in your life? That's all you're doing is you're showing up as a mom, the spouse, the PTA volunteer, the I got to go be the caregiver, all these titles that we wear in our life, to the point that we lose who we are. We lose who Pearl is. We lose who Mary is. We lose who Joe is. We lose our names. We no longer know where we are, who we are, or why we're existing. You see, that was happening to me. At the end of 6 weeks, I still gave my I am statement. And then a friend of mine in the course said, Pearl, where are you? Where are you showing up? And I realized I wasn't showing up, that I was showing up for everybody else, but not for me. And so I decided, this happened just before COVID. I decided I wanted to go on this journey to figure out who the heck Pearl was. Because you see, growing up, I didn't like my name. My maiden name was last name Knapp. So I was short. So I was Mini Pearl, Pearl Halber, Pearl Go Take a Nap, all these things. So I never really wanted to step into my name. So as I was doing this journey to figure out who I was, I realized that I became this people pleaser, that I became the saboteur that was living in my life, telling me that I did not belong to take care of me, that if I don't show up for everybody else, they're all going to think I don't like them, don't love them, don't care about them, that I'm selfish. If you've ever felt like that before, I get it. I understand it. It's a tough thing to overcome because we don't want to let everybody down, especially our loved ones. But we have to do something to make that change. And so I decided I needed to do something to make the change. Had no idea how I was going to do that. So one day I was walking into a network meeting, and on the ground there was this rock. And I decided to pick up this rock. And when I picked up this rock, I just kind of put it in my pocket. It was pretty. I didn't think nothing about it. Went into this meeting. And at the end of the meeting, somebody had asked me if I would help them with a fundraiser. But you see, this fundraiser for me, it didn't mean anything to me. It was for dogs and cats. My hand went across my pocket, and I was like, oh my gosh, sorry, I can't help you do that. The pocket with that rock is what started my journey into stepping into my Shero self. So you see, I decided I needed to take that rock, and it was an anchor for me, that God gave me this rock for some reason. So I made a commitment to not once, not twice, but move that rock 3 times a day to saying no to somebody. If I had not done that by the end of the day, I had to either show up by either texting, calling, or email somebody and tell them no to something or someone. It wasn't easy, you guys. Like, we don't want to let it down. But I realized I'm still alive. It didn't hurt me to say no. And I started stepping into the stronger version of the no, the word no. I started understanding that no is a complete sentence. You can say it just like you won $1 million, just like yes is a complete sentence. You can say it as happy as you say yes. And as I became stronger in saying the word no, I realized that I wasn't having the midnight wake up calls anymore, that I wasn't waking up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, worrying about who I didn't call, email, text, what PTA volunteer thing did I not get accomplished. And so I became a happier version of myself. And so as that happened, I started realizing I was becoming empowered to share my story, empowered to start doing things that maybe I've had on my shelf for a little while, like speaking on stages or writing in books, which is something I started to do. And as that happened, I started walking into rooms where people were like, wow, like, Pearl, what's different about yourself? Like, you're like, you got this glow. I call it the glow up. You got this glow. Like, you're like, did you cut your hair? Did you lose weight? All the answers were no. I was just putting myself first for a change. So I was loving myself first for a change. So that meant I had this glow up, this radiance about myself. But here's the best part. Because I did all this work, because I was working really hard on it, and trust me, it took me a good 6 to 8 weeks to really step into this Shero self. I realized I became the original version of myself. I realized that I wanted all these years growing up, I wanted to be a teacher, but here I was teaching and empowering other women to do the same thing. Because a lot of women, we are people pleasers, and men are as well, but women tend to be more because we're the nurturers. We don't want to let everybody down. And I didn't realize that until 2022, how important stepping into Shero self I was. And that was when we lost our son, Matthew, at 25 years old in a tragic car accident. And you see, the reason why this is important is that 2 days before he passed, if you have kids, listen up. Your kids pay attention to what you're doing. They see what you do, and they copy, and they recognize, and they emulate things that you do. And 2 days before my son passed, he said to me, Mom, can you throw me a water bottle when we're in the garage? I chucked the water bottle to him, and he said, not only have you figured out who the heck you are, but you also have an arm, Mom. You see, I could never throw a football before, but he realized I had started putting myself before them, my husband and my kids, my other son, Nate. And then therefore I was a happy version of myself. I was giving more time to my family, more time to my business, more time to my husband, more time to people and the things that I love to do. And so I'm going to say to you this: if you are resonating with any of this and you are realizing that you are showing up for everybody else but not yourself, I want to tell you, stop. It's time to make a change. It's time to start communicating what your needs and desires are. I call it communicating your realistic expectations. Self-care is not selfish. Putting oneself first is not selfish. It's actually loving yourself first so that you can show up 100% more for all those that you love. One of the things that we do when I work with my clients is we talk about what is on your joy list. Now, you may say, oh, I could put my joy list together with no problems. Yes, you probably can list 10 things right off the top of your head. But here's the thing. When you work with me over 6 weeks' time, I'm going to challenge you to tell me why everything on your joy list is there. So you may say, I love cutting hair. Why do you love cutting somebody's hair? Well, you might tell me because it just brings you joy. That's great. But what about cutting somebody's hair brings you joy? And when you start working through that, every time you write something down to that answer, what about that brings you joy? Then you have to do it until you can get to the end. And my hairstylist that I worked with and coached her through this, she realized that what about cutting hair brought her joy was that many times, and we tell our hairdressers everything, you guys, we would walk into that stylist's office, sit in her chair, and we might have been having a bad day. But as she's cutting their hair and helping them to look beautiful from the outside, they're releasing everything on the inside that's been frustrating, overwhelming them, and on their heart. So therefore, by the time they leave that chair, not only do they look better on the outside, but they feel a little better on the inside. That's why she cuts hair and why it brings her joy. So when I work with my clients, we start working on that joy list. And I tell them it's going to take you 6 weeks to bring me everything of 10 items on your joy list. And so here's the thing. Stepping into your Shero self is not just saying no to others. It's doing the things that's on your joy list that makes you feel like you are important, that makes you feel like you are showing up for you. Because I can promise you guys that tomorrow, if for some reason you are not here, I want to know what will 10 of your friends say about you. We will miss you dearly. But at your eulogy, if all they say is all the things they saw you do, instead of at least 10 things they saw you do for self, like for me, sit on my front porch swing, go for a walk, meditate, go get my mani-pedi done with my family members. Self-care is not selfish. You can do it with those you love as well. Go out to movies with your sons, like I did with my son, Nate. If you cannot have 10 people say something that they saw you do for yourself, I want to talk to you. I want to help you start stepping into your Shero self, because somebody will slide into your desk at work. Maybe your business, if you own a business, is going to close up, and your family will learn to go ahead and take care of themselves, but they will not be able to get back, and they cannot rewind and the remote with the remote their life to get more time with you. So I'm going to encourage you that if this resonates with you and you just want to learn how to start stepping into your Shero self, I want to encourage you to go grab my free ebook. It's pearlsebook.com, and it's going to talk to you about some things stepping into your Shero self and saying yes to you with a smile on your face. Because I'm going to tell you that today you are here and listening to me, but tomorrow you may not be here. So I want to encourage you that you can become stronger, happier, empowered, and radiant and original self just by learning that as you come into this world, you have a rough oyster on the outside, but on the inside, when you start doing work, you're going to start stepping into your Shero self and find your inner pearl of greatness. And I hope today that you will take the advantage of grabbing my free ebook. And if any of this resonates with you, you can also visit me at wsliving.com. That's wsliving.com, where we empower you to become your Shero self. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and go find your Shero self.